G'day, girls. Mick Dundee from Australia.
Are you gonna talk all night, my man? Are you gonna screw one of them?
The movie begins in bustling New York City, where a journalist named Sue Charlton works for a newspaper company.
Last month, this guy in the Northern Territory was attacked by a crocodile.
While discussing with her fiancé, Richard Mason, on her phone, she tells him about her next assignment, deep into the wilds of Australia's Northern Territory, to cover the story of a man who supposedly survived a crocodile attack, a local legend known as Michael J. Crocodile Dundee.
So even if this thing is for real, it could take you weeks to nail him down.
Sue travels to the dusty town of Walkabout Creek, a small outback settlement filled with rugged locals, pubs, and stories taller than mountains. When she arrives, she meets Walter "Wally" Riley, Dundee's business partner.
Hi, Walter Riley.
Who runs a small safari tour company. Wally tells her that Dundee is out in the bush, but he's agreed to take her to meet him. Sue and Wally drive into the heart of the wilderness and arrive at the Walkabout Creek Hotel. And later that night, while having some drinks with Willie and asking him questions about the town.
And you're Mr. Dundee, does he?
No. He's very reserved.
Mick Dundee appears out of nowhere, rugged and calm, the townspeople cheering him while he was carrying a lifeless crocodile with one hand. He meets Sue. Stunned by what she saw in front of her, Mick introduced himself and took her for a dance. There, she asked him his story and sees the scars on his leg, marks left by the crocodile that nearly killed him. He tells her he crawled hundreds of miles back to safety. To verify the story, she insists on going with them to the exact spot of the attack. Mick agrees to take her into the adventure, and then the next morning they set out to the dry land, stretching endlessly, shimmering under the heat.
Well, I hope you're not going to be the strong, silent type.
On their way, they encounter a buffalo blocking the road, and Mick, the wild man that he is, deals with the situation, calming it with his mysterious bush tricks. Sue is amazed by how natural he is in the wild. The two set out on foot into the deep outback, moving through rough terrain, tall grass and swamps, and later shows her the boat he was attacked on.
And you were out here hunting crocodiles and that?
They camp under the open sky, surrounded by the sounds of the night, and Mick impresses her once again, catching a snake with his bare hands. The next day, while exploring near a river, Sue decides to take a quick swim, unaware that something moves beneath the surface. Suddenly, a massive crocodile lunges out of the water. Sue screams as it snaps at her water bottle, but before it can drag her under, Dundee rushes in, grabbing his knife and attacking the crocodile with fierce precision. He kills it, pulling Sue safely out of the water.
All right, Taylor.
She's seen firsthand while people call him Crocodile Dundee. While back at their camp, Mick suddenly hears a noise and warns Sue to keep quiet. An Aboriginal man appears, and Mick holds a knife at his throat, later revealing they know each other.
Oh, it's all right. It's a mate of mine, Neville Bell, Sue Charlton.
Good day, Sue.
He introduced the man to Sue and later left with him to attend a man-only tribal ceremony with him. Sue, curious, watches far from the bushes as Dundee interacts with the Aboriginal people who live nearby. His connection with nature fascinates her. During their trip, he guides her across cliffs and helps her find food in the wild, and their bond grows stronger with every step. And she asks him to go to New York City with her, jokingly wondering how he'd handle the urban jungle. To her surprise, he agrees.
Well, make a great wrap to the story. You in New York City?
When they return to Walkabout Creek, Sue's assignment is done, but she feels there's more to Dundee's story and told Willie about the idea of taking Mick to New York with her, and Willie agrees too. A few days later, he's boarding a plane for the first time in his life, heading to America. When the plane lands in New York, Dundee steps into a completely different world.
Yeah, New York must be the friendliest place on earth.
Tall buildings stretching into the sky, cars fill the streets, and the noise is endless. Sue introduces him to her friends and colleagues, and immediately his Outback ways clash with the city's sophistication. Yet, he adapts quickly. He walks the streets as if exploring new terrain, greeting strangers and handling situations with his calm, Outback confidence.
Sorry.
When a mugger tries to rob him, he disarms the man with no fear, using his hunting instincts and quick reactions. He becomes an instant sensation. A wild man from Australia surviving New York with ease. Sue's fiancé, Richard Mason, a wealthy and polished editor, doesn't like the attention Dundee's getting. He sees the growing connection between Sue and Mick and becomes jealous. At a dinner, he keeps mocking Mick by the life he had back in Australia, and Mick had enough of it.
This will be quite a novelty for you, Mick. Eating something without having to kill it first.
He draws his attention to another table and hits him unnoticeably, sending Richard into a drunk-like state, angering Sue.
Richard is warm, caring, and I love him, okay?
But still, Sue spends more time showing Dundee around New York City. At a high society dinner, he surprises everyone by being completely at ease, greeting people, exploring the kitchen, and turning awkward moments into laughter. One night, he encounters New York's rougher side. When a man harasses two women on the street, he steps in without hesitation, disarming him effortlessly.
Hey, pal. I was just talking to the ladies.
Word spreads about the wild man from Australia, and soon everyone's fascinated by him. One night after wandering through the city, the man from earlier spots him and they surround him with his friends. Outnumbered, he holds his ground, dodging their hits with quick, calm movements.
Make like a kangaroo and hop away.
Just as things turn dangerous, a black limousine pulls up nearby. It's his driver. He hits one man with his car and takes off his spoiler to hit the other one running. The driver helps Mick to his feet, brushing off his jacket. Mick grins slightly, bruised but unfazed. As time passes, the chemistry between Sue and Dundee grows stronger. She admires his bravery, honesty, and simplicity, while he falls from her warmth and independence. Later that evening, they are invited to a fancy event at Sue's father's place. But things take a turn when Richard proposes to Sue publicly. Shocked and unsure, she accepts, though her eyes reveal confusion. Dundee congratulates them, but inside he's hurt. That night he decides to leave New York quietly. Before dawn, he packs his things and checks out of the hotel, heading toward the subway. Sue, arriving at the hotel, learns that Mick checked out and heading towards the subway.
He's just headed for the subway 2 blocks down. You better hurry.
She rushes through the crowded streets to find him. Dundee, meanwhile, walks into the underground station where people are packed shoulder to shoulder. Sue arrives moments later, calling his name through the crowd. People around start noticing, helping her shout directions to him.
I love you!
Dundee hears his name echoing in the middle of the platform. They finally spot each other. He starts climbing across people to reach her, moving over shoulders, hands helping him along. The crowd cheers as they get closer. Finally, they meet in the middle, the two worlds colliding in the most human way. A final connection between the Outback survivor and the city woman who found something real in him. Our journey through this classic has come to an end, but the nostalgia never stops. Hit subscribe for more retro movie adventures and drop a comment letting me know which movie we should revisit next.